Heartwarming Millionaire discovers stepmother's shocking abuse. 12 life-changing moments exposed. Sitting at the heavy oak dining table, surrounded by laughter and the joyful clinking of silverware, Ryan Miller felt the illusion of a picture-perfect life wash over him. At 35, this self-made millionaire had it all: money, success, a plush home in Maplewood, but beneath the surface, unearthed memories clung to him like a shadow he couldn't shake. As his neighbors shared stories of summer vacations and school memories, Ryan's heart tightened, flickering back to moments of a childhood marred by the harshness of his stepmother Evelyn. The warmth of his early years had been subjected to icy control and pettiness. He would forever be the unwanted child in her eyes. Ryan's fingers brushed against the crumbs on the table, and a rush of bittersweet childhood memories filled him. The joys of a simple game of catch in the backyard, the sound of his mother's laughter, and the day chaos erupted when his father brought Evelyn into their lives. Words like worthless, failure, and disgrace haunted him, echoing from his past. During community potlucks, those memories felt suffocating, and for a moment, the laughter became jarring. He wanted to remember happiness instead, but the pain bubbled beneath the surface. Relentless. One evening, while searching for a forgotten puzzle, Ryan stumbled upon an old scrapbook hidden in the attic, dust floating in the golden sunlight. Flipping through the fragile pages ignited a storm in his heart. Pictures of happy family gatherings, snapshots of what seemed like moments of joy, but each image felt tainted, an inadequate mask for the verbal assaults and isolation he endured. With each turn of the page, Ryan unearthed secrets buried within him, a disturbing narrative of emotional scars encompassed in his childhood innocence. Determined to dig deeper, Ryan had a revelation that shook him to his core. As he reached out to local friends and support groups, he learned his childhood friend, Sarah, was living a parallel life of hidden trauma, ghosted by her own memories of abuse. Late-night conversations revealed their childhood pain, and the churning emotions had begun to intertwine their lives. Through tears and shared vulnerabilities, they discovered a community soaked in silence, filled with people like them affected by unseen wounds. But as Ryan collected his thoughts, a heavy realization washed over him. A choice loomed ahead: to confront Evelyn and shatter the family loyalty, or embrace the cycle of pain that had quietly grown in silence. In town meetings and rallying cries for abuse victims, he found resistance. A deep-rooted fear gripped the community, rooted in denial. Yet, a part of him felt ignited by purpose, prodding him to challenge the comfort of ignorance. Then came the moment of reckoning, a tremor that rippled against a backdrop of polite conversations and phony smiles. Ryan discovered he couldn't let memories haunt him quietly anymore. Evelyn would have to answer for her sins, but fear weighed on his heart. Had he set himself on a path that might destroy his family? As he prepared to confront Evelyn, a storm brewed within him. Could he spark a movement that would pour light into the shadows of his community? Or would the fear of losing the family he fought so hard to protect keep him silent? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Ryan stood on the precipice, resolute yet trembling, a haunting question gripped him. Could one person's courage be the key to unlocking a truth hidden for far too long? Or would the fear of unraveling the fragile fabric of his past keep him shackled in silence? The night deepened with unspoken words, as emotions surged and hope flickered on the edge of a new dawn. Would Ryan choose to break the cycle, or would history repeat itself? The morning sun sliced through Ryan's bedroom window, casting sharp shadows on the walls as he sat at the edge of his bed, heart racing. Today was the day. He felt the weight of the moment gnawing at him, each tick of the clock echoing his resolve to confront Evelyn. Fighting against the tide of anxiety, he took a deep breath, trying to summon the courage that had eluded him in the past. In the kitchen, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, familiar yet distorted by the anticipation of what lay ahead. He caught sight of his reflection in the polished counter, tired eyes, creased forehead, but a hint of determination kindling within. His phone buzzed, scattering his thoughts. It was Sarah, writing a simple message. "You got this. Just stay true to yourself." A smile tugged at his lips. He had promised her he would take a stand, not just for himself, but for anyone else who had suffered in silence. Making his way to the living room, he glanced at the family photos adorning the walls, moments frozen in time, fragments of laughter intertwined with memories he preferred to forget. Evelyn had always insisted they keep the house pristine, a facade that showcased an ideal family. But now those images felt like a prison he needed to escape. Each frame was not just a picture, but a reminder of the truths he was eager and terrified to unveil. As Ryan drove to his father's house, every move felt purposeful. The streets of Maplewood, typically filled with friendly faces, seemed ominously silent. He parked in front of the familiar white picket fence, the house looking just as he remembered, only now it felt suffocating. Gathering himself, he stepped out and rehearsed the words he'd practiced. "This ends today." Crossing the threshold, he was greeted by the same old scent of lavender air freshener that Evelyn insisted on. Overpowering and artificial. The silence swallowed him whole as he approached the living room, where he found his father seated. The newspaper spread across his lap. "Ryan, good to see you," his father said, not looking up. "Dad, can we talk?" The words left Ryan's lips hesitantly, as if they were weighing him down. "Of course. Just let me finish this," he replied dismissively, never breaking his gaze from the paper. Ryan felt his heart thumping louder, the churning emotions tightening around him like a vice. He glanced towards the kitchen, knowing Evelyn would wander in any moment. He needed to act fast. As if on cue, she appeared, sharp eyes scanning the room. "Is everything all right?" Her voice was cool, an edge of suspicion laced within it. "I need to discuss something important." Ryan steeled himself, feeling the weight of every shared moment with her pressing down on him. "It's about our family and the past." Her lips curled slightly, and for a split second, he thought he saw something flicker in her gaze. Was it guilt? He pressed on, emboldened by the courage he'd found in shared pain with Sarah. "I know what you did to me, Evelyn. What you made me feel. And it's time the truth came out." The air thickened instantly, as if the room itself held its breath. Evelyn's expression shifted abruptly. Gone was her usual veneer of control, replaced by something darker. "You don't want to do this, Ryan," she warned, a hint of venom in her tone. Caught between fear and fierce resolve, Ryan buried past doubts and summoned the strength to respond. "But I do. And I'm ready to fight for those who can't." Just then, the subtle crack in her armor deepened. A tense silence began to envelop the room, the weight of unspoken history hanging heavy between them. Would this confrontation unleash ghosts from the past and open a floodgate of truths? Or would it serve only to ignite the fury of a woman who would do anything to protect her facade? Ryan's heart raced as the moment teetered on the edge of revelation. Would he finally find the closure he sought? Or was this just the beginning of a battle he could never have anticipated? As emotions surged within him, he caught himself wondering what lengths would he have to go to uncover the stark truth, and could he bear the aftermath? The silence was deafening, a heavy curtain that draped over the confrontation, leaving both Ryan and Evelyn suspended in a moment pregnant with tension. Ryan could feel his pulse quickening, the thud echoing in his ears like a drumroll, building a cacophony of adrenaline and fear. He was acutely aware of the stakes. Each word he uttered weighted with possible consequences. Evelyn's expression morphed from suspicion to something harder, sharper. It was a look that told Ryan all he needed to know about her. She was not going down without a fight. "You think you can just waltz in here and demand answers?" she said, her voice edged with hostility. "You have no idea what you're asking for." "I know more than you think," Ryan shot back, bracing himself. "I remember the nights I spent trapped in my room, the moments I felt suffocated by your control. You might have deceived everyone else, but I won't be a victim anymore." For a moment, he swore he saw a flicker of something in her eyes. Fear? Regret? It vanished quickly, replaced by cold defiance. "You don't understand the complexities of this family. I did what I had to do to keep us together." Ryan shook his head, anguish mixing with anger. "Together? You mean holding us all hostage to your lies? No one was ever safe. You taught me how to fear, and I can't live under that shadow anymore." This is absurd, she spat. You're twisting everything. You had a good life. Did I? Ryan challenged, his voice rising. A good life filled with secrets and pain? This was never about love for you, was it? You used our family as a front for your own darkness. Evelyn stepped closer, the distance between them shrinking like a noose tightening around his throat. Silence is better, Ryan. You need to drop this before it escalates. You really don't know what I can do to protect my own. Her threat hung in the air, a warning that resonated deeply within him. Thoughts raced through his mind, grappling with the weight of her intimidation and the voice urging him to stand tall. I'm not afraid of you anymore, Evelyn. I want to stay quiet. Not when there are others, people like me who are too afraid to speak up. The moment stretched, and Ryan felt a small crack of hope as he watched her mask slip further. For so long, she had wielded her power like a weapon, but now the fabric of her control was fraying. Ryan, she began, but he cut her off with newfound conviction. Don't try to sweet-talk me now. This is years of hurt and pain you've caused, and it's time for the truth to come out. I will tell my story. I will make sure others hear it too. He could practically feel the shift in the air, the quiet battle of wills playing out before him like an action scene from a movie. He wondered briefly if he might stumble, if he might not find the strength he thought he had. But then he remembered Sarah's words, her unwavering belief in him, and the countless nights spent in shadowed silence. Before he could prepare himself for her retort, Evelyn's eyes hardened. You're making a mistake. This is not just about you anymore. You think you hold the truth, but it's far more dangerous than you realize. His heart sank, but he stood firm. If it means protecting others like me, then I will accept that danger. I will bring this to light. Evelyn smirked, sending a chill down his spine. Then be careful, Ryan. Not everyone you expose will thank you for it, and some might come after you. The chill froze him for a moment, but he shook it off. If he was going to do this, he couldn't back down now. He took a deep breath, grounding himself. Whatever comes next, I'm ready. This ends today. Evelyn's eyes darkened as if storm clouds were brewing within them, masking a tempest of emotions. The realization hit him like a punch. This might just be the beginning of a ruthless battle. One he had prepared for but perhaps had not fully understood. As they stared each other down, he felt a wave of determination rolling over him, resilient and unyielding. What would he uncover about the past? What more sinister layer of deception lay beneath the surface of Evelyn's facade? The air was thick with unresolved tension as Ryan faced Evelyn, their battle of wills hanging like a fragile balloon, ready to burst. There was something raw about finally confronting the woman who had overshadowed his life. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown to a revelation he couldn't quite grasp yet. Evelyn turned her gaze away, a flicker of vulnerability shimmering behind her steely resolve. Ryan thought that perhaps he could peel back the layers, see the person beneath the facade. You know, he said slowly, that power you wielded over us, it's fading. You might think you're untouchable, but everyone has cracks. Everyone has a breaking point. Her expression hardened again, the mask firmly back in place. Watch your words, Ryan. You may think you're brave, but courage often comes with a price. His stomach twisted at the thought. She was right. What if revealing the truth did come at a cost? But then he remembered the stories of others, too many cloaked in silence, just like he was. You're not invincible, he pressed, feeling a sense of empowerment coursing through him. You're a person, just like the rest of us. And everything you've done? It's not forgotten. Everything I did was for our survival, she replied, voice shaking with the slightest hint of desperation. You think you're some kind of hero, but you couldn't be more wrong. This world is dangerous, and if you set things in motion, you have no idea what could happen. That's the point. He shouted back, anger flaring. It's been dangerous for too long. I'm not going to hide anymore. I'm going to expose the mess and help others fight back. Evelyn took a deep breath, as if weighing her next words carefully. And what if your recklessness puts those very people in danger? Are you prepared to deal with the fallout? Maybe it's a risk I have to take, Ryan replied, his voice steady despite the quaking in his gut. If it means standing up for others, it's worth it. If not for me, then for those who are still trapped under the weight of your lies. Evelyn's expression shifted again, something like alarm breaking through the anger. You're naive, she spat. You think truth is some kind of weapon, but in the end, it can be your worst enemy. This family, everything, it will fall apart. Let it fall apart, Ryan challenged, feeling a fire ignite within him. The realization that he could choose to spark change fueled his relentless determination. I refuse to carry this weight anymore. If I have to drag the skeletons into the light, then so be it. You don't get to decide who I am or who anyone else can be. For the first time, he could see a fissure in Evelyn's armor, a roll of fear unveiling her rigid composure. You're opening a door, she warned, her voice low, almost pleading now. But some doors shouldn't be opened. The silence that followed buzzed with uncertainty. Each breath filled with unspoken possibilities. Could he really withstand the forces he was about to unleash? There was a moment of doubt now. A fleeting second where he wondered if he had the power to turn this tide. Maybe, he said quietly, but I no longer want to stand in the dark. I choose to fight. Evelyn's jaw clenched tightly. Then get ready, Ryan. You may think you're the one wielding the sword, but you might find you're the one bleeding when this is over. As her words settled, Ryan felt the weight of the world shift on his shoulders. He was standing on the precipice of a choice that could redefine everything. Yet deep inside, sparks of hope ignited. It was a gamble worth taking. What awaited him on the other side of the truth? Would he be met with allies or shadows lurking in the dark, seeking revenge? The answers felt just out of reach, like a dangerous game waiting to swirl around him. Ryan could feel the pulse of uncertainty thrumming in the air as he stepped back from Evelyn. He needed to gather his thoughts. The storm within him was raging, but one thing was clear. He had crossed a line, and there was no going back. The weight of this confrontation lingered heavily, echoing through him like a drum's relentless beat. He turned away from her, glancing out of the window. The clouds loomed dark and brooding, but there was a glimmer of light fighting to break through. It reminded him of the very essence of hope, frail but persistent. If he was going to fight against the darkness Evelyn had cast over their lives, he needed to rally the strength to take action. With resolve, he walked towards the front door, the wooden floorboards creaking softly beneath his feet. His heart raced as he stepped out into the cool, fresh air, a stark contrast to the suffocating tension inside. It was time to seek out his allies, those who would understand the fight he was ready to embrace. Outside, the world felt different. Instead of the usual hustle and bustle, he noticed the quiet and eerie calm that mirrored his inner turmoil. Ryan thought of the friends and family who might stand with him. Who else among them had suffered under Evelyn's heavy shadow? He pulled out his phone, fingers trembling as he scrolled through contacts. Jessica, his childhood friend, popped into his mind. She was fearless and fiercely loyal. If anyone could help him strategize, it was her. He pressed call, mind racing with what to say. Ryan, is everything all right? Her voice crackled through the speaker. I need your help, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. Of course. What's going on? He paused. Could he share the full weight of the truth so soon? But he had to trust someone. It's about my mother, about what she has done. I'm ready to expose everything. But I can't do it alone. Silence hung between them for a moment, and he held his breath, waiting for her reaction. Are you sure about this? It could change everything. I know, but I can't keep pretending the past doesn't exist. If I don't do this, I'll always be trapped. I refuse to let her control my life any longer. There was a long sigh from Jessica, then all right. I'm in. Let us figure out how to tackle this together. Gratitude surged in him like a breath of fresh air. He had someone by his side, a partner in this daunting mission. They spoke for a while, sketching out his plan, diving into the real emotions beneath the surface battles. Every word shared felt as if it chipped away at his fears, replacing them with fortified determination. When they hung up, an unexpected thrill coursed through him. He felt lighter somehow, but his heart still beat heavy with the knowledge that he was now on a path paved with uncertainty and potential danger. Evelyn would retaliate. He knew that without a doubt. And the thought sent a shiver down his spine. What would her godlike wrath look like when set loose? For all her threats, she would be forced to contend with his resilience. But in the back of his mind, the small flicker of fear remained. What if he lost more than he bargained for? What would happen to the fragile bonds of family left hanging by a thread? Ryan clenched his fists, staring into the horizon, where the clouds began to part to reveal the sun. It was a battle ahead, but he felt ready. And yet, deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that something darker awaited him, hidden in the shadows, biding its time. What would he uncover next, and who would stand with him when the storm inevitably broke? A question lingered in the air, heavy with the weight of impending turmoil. Would the fight reveal buried truths or unveil deeper scars? The next morning, Ryan woke before dawn, the quietness of the house amplifying his racing thoughts. He lay there for a moment, staring up at the ceiling, contemplating the conversation with Jessica. The cool morning air filtered through the window, and he could almost taste the promise of change lingering just beyond his reach. Getting out of bed, he dressed quickly and decided to start the day with a run. The familiar rhythm helped clear his mind, and the repetitive cadence of his feet against the pavement grounded him. He thought of Evelyn's manipulation, the secrets she had woven into their lives, and the chains that had kept him bound for so long. As he rounded a corner, he spotted a group of kids laughing and playing in a park, their carefree energy igniting something inside him. Joy never seemed to last in his own home, but here it felt tangible, like an aura that enveloped them all. He couldn't remember the last time he'd laughed like that. The simple sound hung in the air, a stark reminder of what he yearned for. Ryan slowed his pace, a shadow creeping into his heart. These kids were free from the darkness that had coiled around his childhood. He used to be one of them, filled with hopes and dreams, before the weight of family duty dulled his spirit. But he was ready to reclaim that freedom. After his run, he grabbed a quick shower and texted Jessica. They had agreed to meet at a coffee shop, a neutral ground to lay the groundwork for their next moves. As he sipped on his coffee, he scanned the busy streets outside, a small flicker of excitement in his chest. Jessica arrived shortly after, and her presence filled the space with warmth. She slid into the chair across from him, her eyes locking onto his, brimming with understanding. "You look determined. What's next on the agenda?" Ryan leaned in closer, lowering his voice. "I think we need to gather evidence. I want specifics, anything we can use against her. Maybe we can access old documents, talk to family friends, whatever we can to build our case." "And what if she finds out?" Jessica asked, concern etched on her face. "That's a risk we'll have to take," he replied, feeling a surge of conviction. The more he spoke, the more conviction replaced his fear. "I'm tired of living in a shadow. It's time for the truth." Their conversation spiraled deeper as they brainstormed possibilities. They talked about the dynamics of the family, the instances that had shaped Ryan's childhood, and the emotional fallout of Evelyn's actions. Each memory shared brought light and clarity, a sense of liberation he hadn't felt in years. But as the sun climbed higher in the sky, a nagging sensation tugged at Ryan's thoughts. Evelyn was sly, underhanded. How far would she go to protect her secrets? A chill ran down his spine as he imagined her discovering their plans. "I have a bad feeling about this, Jess. We can't underestimate her," he confessed, his voice low. Jessica nodded, a flicker of determination illuminating her features. "Then we'll be smart about it. We'll be one step ahead." Ryan couldn't help but smile, bolstered by her confidence. But the doubt crept back in, planting seeds of anxiety. What if their quest for justice opened a Pandora's box? There were things buried deep within that could hurt more than just him. As they parted ways, Ryan felt a strange mix of hope and dread welling up inside him. He had become a man on a mission, but the path forward shimmered with treacherous implications. Later that evening, engulfed in the stillness of his room, Ryan heard a soft knock at the door. The hair on the back of his neck stood up as he opened it to find Evelyn standing there. A veneer of concern painted across her face. "Ryan, can we talk?" she asked, her voice smooth but filled with an unmistakable edge. His heart raced. Was this the confrontation he'd been preparing for? How could she know he was making plans to take her down? In that moment, the air grew thick with tension, and Ryan realized he stood at a crossroads. What was she going to reveal? As he took a deep breath, ready to step into a confrontation he hadn't expected, an undeniable thought gripped him. Was he ready for what lay ahead? This was just the beginning. The storm was brewing, and he had to face the tempest head-on. Would he have the strength to survive? Ryan hesitated, the door creaking slightly as he pushed it open wider, inviting Evelyn in. The authenticity of her concern felt rehearsed, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was lurking behind her words. "Sure, come in," he said, keeping his voice steady despite his racing heart. He stepped aside, letting her enter the room. Evelyn took a seat on his unmade bed, folding her hands neatly in her lap. The faint scent of her expensive perfume filled the air, clashing with the stale atmosphere of unease. "I've been thinking about our family, about how we can be closer." "Closer?" Ryan echoed, his brow furrowed. The word felt wrong, like a taunt wrapped in a velvet glove. "I know I can come off as distant, especially after everything that happened with your father," she began, her tone almost maternal. "But I want us to work through our issues together. There's so much we haven't addressed." Was this a strategy to manipulate him like before? Every word felt designed to reel him back into her web. "Address issues? You mean the years of being bullied and belittled? You think we can just talk that away?" Anger bubbled beneath the surface, but he held it together. Evelyn's expression shifted, the mask slipping. "You don't understand the pressures I face keeping this family together. Your father, he had his demons. I had to protect us." "Protect us?" Ryan shot back. "You've only ever fed us lies. You'd rather keep your secrets safe than let us breathe." Tension hung thick in the air. She looked at him sharply, and for a split second, Ryan thought he saw fear in her eyes. "You think you know everything, but you don't. This isn't just about your childhood, it's about mine too." He swallowed hard, taken aback. "What do you mean?" Evelyn glanced toward the window, the evening light casting shadows across her features. "My own past, it's tangled up in our family's mistakes. Things I don't want to admit. You'll need to trust me if you want to understand." Trust? With her? That was a punchline in this tragedy. Still, a part of him felt the piercing need to understand. "So you want us to bond over shared trauma? Just how much are you willing to reveal?" "More than you realize." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "But you have to let me explain first." "Explain what?" "That you've controlled my life for as long as I can remember?" He paced, rubbing the back of his neck. She exhaled, a thin breath that seemed to release something heavy between them. "Yes, but it's more than just control. I've fought battles you can't even dream of. If you're looking for evidence against me, just remember, this fight cuts both ways." Ryan's stomach twisted. She wasn't just a villain. She was a woman shaped by her own struggles. What truths were buried in her history? "So what? Are you asking for sympathy now?" "I'm asking you to consider another perspective." Evelyn leaned forward, her eyes locked onto his, imploring him. "You're stronger than you know. We both are." It was an odd claim. Did they share strength? Or was that just another method of her manipulation? He felt lightheaded, a mix of fear and curiosity pouring over him. The weight of their complicated history suddenly crept in, wrapped in confusion and a shred of empathy. Could he really peel back the layers of her past, or would he only find more pain? "I need time to think," he finally said, retreating back into his shield. "Take all the time you need," she replied, her voice softening, the facade crumbling slightly. "Just remember, what you unearth might change everything." As she left, an unsettling silence enveloped the room. His heart pounded as he replayed her words. What else might he find if he pursued this path? He sat on the edge of his bed, wrestling with the night's revelations. Was it possible that the truth he sought would change how he saw Evelyn, for better or worse? And as the weight of the decision settled over him, he wondered if digging deeper would only bury him in more pain, or if it could finally grant him the freedom he yearned for. What if this pursuit of truth led him somewhere he wasn't ready to go? Would that shatter everything he thought he knew about family? Ryan sat on his bed, the shadows of dusk creeping around him, thick and heavy with uncertainty. Evelyn's words lingered in the air like a phantom, unsettling yet compelling. He felt as if he was standing on the edge of a cliff, the drop into the unknown both terrifying and intoxicating. That he glanced around his room, the walls echoing years of his life filled with secrets and silence. There were pictures of better days, faded memories of laughter captured in snapshots, moments when the tensions of his family hadn't wrapped them in fear. Each image stung, urging him to confront the past he had long tried to bury. With a sigh, Ryan picked up his phone. He scrolled through messages from friends, discovering a world outside these four walls that felt distant now. The laughter, the adventures, seemed like pieces of a puzzle left unsolved. Did they really know the weight he carried? Before he could second-guess himself, he typed out a message to Jamie, his closest friend. "Can we talk? Need to get some things off my chest." While he waited, he couldn't shake the sense that Evelyn's request for understanding was layered, filled with hidden truths. The notion that their sorrows intertwined ignited something in him. A flicker of curiosity battling against the raging storm of anger and resentment. A knock broke the silence, and his heart leaped. It was Jamie, bursting through the door with an exuberant grin, oblivious to the turmoil that lingered in the corners of the room. "Hey, man. What's up?" Jamie plopped down beside him, the energy in the air shifting instantly. He was a whirlwind of laughter and light, the antidote Ryan needed at this moment. "I had a talk with my mom today." Ryan hesitated, the weight of the conversation feeling impossibly heavy. "It's complicated. I don't even know where to start." Jamie raised an eyebrow, interest piqued. "Sounds serious." "Spill." Taking a deep breath, Ryan dove into the conversation, filtering through his emotions as if he was assembling a complex puzzle. "She wants to talk about the past, our family, but it feels like she's trying to manipulate me into seeing her as a victim. It makes me angry." His voice cracked, revealing layers he hadn't voiced before. As he spoke, Jamie listened intently, nodding, engaged with the intensity of Ryan's words. "Have you thought about what she's really trying to say?" Jamie asked gently, a question wrapping around Ryan's tumbling thoughts. He paused, mulling it over. "I don't want to get pulled into her drama, but maybe there's something I need to know." There was a daring tremor in his voice, a reluctant acceptance of the messy puzzle he had to confront. "What if it changes everything?" Jamie said, leaning closer, the words like a beacon in the murky waters of Ryan's mind. Ryan's heart raced at the thought. Would this revelation reshape his identity? Could understanding his mother's past somehow strip away the pain she had caused, forging a new path for them both? As he grappled with these questions, a surge of anxiety flowed through him. "I feel like I'm stepping into a minefield," he admitted, wrestling with his feelings. "Sometimes growth comes from confronting the worst," Jamie replied, his voice steady. "Maybe this is your chance to break free. But just remember, it's okay to take your time. You don't have to rush." As they sat in comfortable silence, Ryan felt a shift inside him, an ember of resolve igniting amidst the chaos. Maybe digging deeper wouldn't bury him in pain. Maybe it would liberate him. But just as he felt the stirring of hope, his phone buzzed with a message from Evelyn. "I need to talk again. There's more you don't know." The words hung in the air, tinged with urgency. What could be so important? What other layers of their shared history remained hidden? Ryan's stomach knotted again, but this time with a mix of fear and anticipation. He glanced at Jamie, who gave an encouraging nod. "You've got this, Just remember, the truth can hurt, but it can also heal. Don't let fear stop you." With a determined breath, Ryan typed back a quick reply to his mother, each keystroke echoing like a hammer on a nail. Would this path forward lead him to answers he was ready to confront? His heart raced as he felt the pull of the unknown. Deep down, he knew he was inching closer to revelations that would not only challenge his understanding of family, but also redefine who he was. And what if the truth Evelyn held really was more than he ever imagined? Would it unravel the bonds that connected them, or forge them closer together? Ryan set his phone aside, his heart pounding as he tried to gather his racing thoughts. He could feel Jamie's curiosity radiating from next to him. The weight of his mother's message pressed heavily on his chest, and he struggled to form the words that needed to come forth. Do you think she can really explain everything?" Ryan's voice was barely above a whisper, tinged with uncertainty. Jamie leaned back, glancing at the ceiling as if searching for an answer up there. "I think she can certainly try. But keep this in mind. She might not have all the answers herself. Sometimes people don't even know what they're hiding." Ryan ran his fingers through his hair, the stress of the moment pulling at him. Jamie was right. His mother's struggles didn't necessarily absolve her of the pain she had caused, but perhaps confronting it was the only way to move forward. "Okay, I'll talk to her." The resolve in Ryan's voice surprised him. It almost felt like a promise. He took a deep breath and glanced at Jamie. "But it's going to get messy, Isn't it? Potentially. But you've got the strength to handle it. Just stay grounded. Remember, you're not alone in this, Jamie reassured him, his tone steady. As evening darkness settled in, Ryan thought about the path ahead. It wouldn't just be his past. It would become their shared history. He felt a pang of guilt. What if revealing the truth only led to more pain? Would it pull them apart instead of pushing them closer together? But for the first time in a long time, he felt a flicker of hope amid the anxiety, a tiny light guiding him through the unknown. Maybe if I understand her better, maybe it will help me heal too, Ryan murmured, feeling the full weight of the journey ahead. He reached for his phone again, hands slightly trembling as he typed a response to his mother's urgent message. When can we talk? It was both a question and a plea for clarity in the murky waters of their shared sorrow. Almost immediately, Evelyn replied, the screen lighting up. How about tomorrow? I'll come over. There's so much I need to explain. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. Tomorrow. The thought reverberated in his mind. A countdown to potential chaos. Are you ready for this? Jamie asked, eyes locked onto Ryan's. I don't know, Ryan admitted, running a hand across his eyes, feeling the weight of sleepless nights and unspoken words press against him. I guess I'll have to be. They sat in silence for a moment, the atmosphere charged with the anticipation of the unknown. Finally, Jamie broke the stillness. No matter what happens, just be true to yourself. It's easy to get swept away in someone else's story. Remember your own too. Ryan nodded, heart fluttering with gratitude. Jamie was right, this was his story too. He'd spent too long hiding from it, avoiding the uncomfortable feelings. What if my whole world gets flipped upside down? He asked, the vulnerability in his tone evident. Then you rebuild it. Stronger this time, Jamie replied, shrugging it off as if it were the simplest thing in the world. You can handle whatever comes. Despite the dread pooling in his stomach, Ryan felt a tiny spark of strength, rising slowly. Tomorrow he would face Evelyn. He could feel the day closing in on him, like a weight waiting to be lifted or a storm about to break. Hey, do you want to do something tonight? Something to take the edge off? Jamie asked, an encouraging smile breaking through the gloom. Ryan considered it, the idea of distraction flickering like a flame. Yeah, maybe we could grab some food or just watch a movie. Sounds like a plan. Let us make it a night to remember, regardless of the storm ahead. They got up, Ryan ready to leave the confines of his chaotic thoughts. And as they headed out into the night, he sensed the impending conversation with his mother looming over him. The weight still heavy but matched by a dawning sense of courage. Would this moment change everything as he feared, or would it lead him somewhere he never imagined? The night was just the beginning. But what awaited him on that next day felt monumental, a turning point that could shift the course of his life forever. The sun pierced through the window, brightening Ryan's room with rays of hope and anticipation. Today was the day. The day he would finally confront Evelyn not just as a victim, but as a warrior on a quest for truth. The night before had been a flurry of emotions, laughter, and even moments of levity with Jamie, but now, the gravity of his decision settled over him like a thick blanket that he glanced at the clock. Time felt like molasses, each minute dripping away in slow agony. With a deep breath, he pushed himself out of bed, the determination to reclaim his power bubbling beneath the surface. It was time to take back control, to rewrite the narrative that had been penned so long ago. Slipping into the clothes that always made him feel strong, Ryan felt a flicker of resolve ignite within. He grabbed his phone, reminding himself of the support he had gathered over the last few days, thoughts of Jessica, Sarah, and Jamie, each one representing pieces of armor against the oncoming storm. Driving to his father's house felt surreal. The familiar streets of Maplewood looked different today, illuminated with the golden hue of morning, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing within him. He parked and took a moment, heart pounding loudly in his chest. The echoes of laughter and childhood played in his mind. He had once joyfully skated through this neighborhood, but today he was a soldier poised for a battle. As he approached the house, he sensed the tension radiating from the walls, a quivering energy that seemed to pulse in unison with his heartbeat. He knocked softly, the sound reverberated like a herald for what lay ahead. With each breath, he mentally prepared for the confrontation that could change everything. He was ready to stand for himself and others, To break the cycle. Evelyn answered swiftly, her expression a mix of forced warmth and thinly veiled anxiety. Ryan, she greeted, motioning for him to enter, her tone reflecting the unease buzzing in the air between them. Thanks for coming, he replied, hoping the tremor in his voice wouldn't betray his determination. They settled in the living room, each moment heavy with the weight of unsaid words. Evelyn gestured toward the chairs. The place that once felt like a safe haven now felt like a battleground, the air laced with palpable tension. I appreciate that you wanted to talk, he began, gathering his courage. But this isn't just about us. It's about everything you've done and the pain you've caused. Her gaze sharpened, defenses rising. You don't have to do this. We can work through our issues in a more civilized manner. Civilized? Ryan echoed, feeling a rush of anger. You think this is about civility? It's about the truth of my childhood, of your control, of the scars you never acknowledged. Evelyn's fingers tightened around the armrest, her knuckles whitening. Those years I was trying to keep you safe. You have to understand safe? He interrupted, his heart racing. You were never keeping me safe. You were isolating me. The weight of your control was a noose around my neck. I was drowning. The room fell silent, an electric crackle in the air between them. Ryan felt the intensity of his own words pulse within his chest, as if they were both stepping toward a precipice, one that obscured the truth beneath years of manipulation. You don't see what I see, Evelyn exclaimed, voice trembling. You don't know the truths that burden me then. Then tell me, Ryan shouted, furious yet desperate. I want to know. Because I refuse to be your punching bag anymore. I deserve my story, the unfiltered truth. For a fleeting moment he saw her veneer crack, the vulnerability lurking beneath. Fine, she whispered, eyes glistening with unshed tears. You want the truth? It was hard keeping this family together. Your father, he had his issues, and I was trying to hold us all together with the only way I knew how. I was scared, Ryan. Every ounce of anger faded into something more profound, understanding. Beneath the layers of hurt, he realized there existed a shared pain. But understanding didn't excuse her actions. In your fear, you forgot how to be a mother. You didn't protect me, you hurt me. And I will no longer allow you to distort what family means. Evelyn looked broken, her once rigid composure crumbling as tears slid down her cheeks. I didn't know how to do it right. I was scared of losing everything. Her voice cracked, revealing the cracks of uncertainty she'd hid for so long. Ryan felt the walls around his heart begin to break. There it was, a shared sorrow bathed in the light of revelation. But look where that fear has gotten us. The facade you built all these years is nothing but a prison. It's time to break the silence, to heal. For both of us. Breathless, Ryan reached across the small space between them, grasping her hand softly. We can forgive, but we need to confront the hurt. We need to share our traumas to heal. I don't want to do this alone anymore. Evelyn's trembling fingers twisted in his grasp. The weight of their shared journey hung between them, swelling with possibility. Perhaps this confrontation was leading to awakening, a moment where empathy could sprout amidst the ruins. I have so much to share, she said, her voice trembling yet filled with the courage to open old wounds. Things I thought would tear us apart, the weight of both their emotional loads pressed on him. Then let us peel back those layers together, one at a time. Let us not stay wrapped in fear anymore. As they navigated the rocky terrain of their relationship, Ryan felt the transformation seep into his bones. It was time to search for healing, not just for himself, but for Evelyn too. In breaking the cycle, perhaps they could redefine family together, stepping into a new era washed in light, of family freed from secrets. And in that moment of shared honesty, Ryan's heart swelled with an unexpected hope. The path ahead was filled with uncertainty, yes. But he felt ready to embrace it all. As he prepared to embark on this new chapter, he couldn't shake the sense that we're about to illuminate the shadows and step into a future where understanding, healing, and perhaps even forgiveness could finally flourish. Now is your moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the exclusive stories that change lives. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the journey. Comment below and tell us your reactions and feelings about this powerful conclusion. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, because this is the moment to spread hope and healing. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your involvement is crucial.